It's an honor that I call this guy my friend of 31 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Thomas Olear. Thomas, where were you born?
Lockport, New York.
And about how many years did you stay there with your family before you moved on to your next
About 3 or 4.
state? Okay. And then where did you go after that?
To Iowa for
Okay.
a few months. And then California. My mom's parents lived in Iowa.
Do you have any? You were pretty young then when you went to Iowa, so you were probably 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. Do you have any memories of Iowa?
Not much.
Okay, so you just know that you were there from
Yes.
what your family tells you and
Yes.
from what you pieced together.
Yes.
All right, and I understand you have 9 other siblings.
We have 9 boys and 5 girls.
9 boys and 5 girls. So you have 14 total?
Yes, and the parents.
Whoa, okay, I thought it was 10.
Oh no.
Okay, wow. This story gets more interesting, folks, as I get to know Thomas. I've known him for 31 years, and I don't know everything about him because it just doesn't, not that he hides it, it just don't come up in a conversation. Okay, so this piece we're working on is going to be very interesting. And how old were you when you were on your first movie set, The Great Circus?
Big circus.
The Big Circus, I'm sorry.
And we were about 10 or 11.
Okay. Just, ladies and gentlemen, so you have a better understanding of this opening, like we said, how many siblings Thomas has. He also traveled around the country and performed in numerous shows that his father put him in, and we'll get into that more as we go. What were your bad experiences, if any, on the set of the first movie you did?
The bad ones was that it was long. You have to be there all day long. And other one thinking now was what we got paid was a very bad experience. We got $22.08.
That your father
a day.
kept,
Oh, yes.
and you never seen a dime of this, ladies and gentlemen. It's
No.
kind of reminds me, not the exact story, but kind of like a Gary Coleman type story.
Yes.
Where the parents kept the funds and the kids didn't get any money even when they got older.
Yes. Well, that much wouldn't make a difference, but yes.
And then I understand Margaret Hamilton starred with you in the movie.
Yes, the Big Circus.
Okay. How was it working
No,
with?
not the Big Circus. I'm sorry. This is good. I can make a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was the Twilight Zone. The Mr. Beavis series in the Twilight Zone.
And what was your experience with her? Like, was she good to work with? We're gonna put in the video later a picture of you with her.
No, we didn't work quite with her.
Okay.
We were just in the movie.
Okay,
So,
I see.
mhm.
And what were some of the bad experiences in the Twilight Zone episode?
Another again, when you work in the movies, you've got to be there all day long, even if it's just a second on screen. And we always had someone telling us what to do.
So it was your experience from both productions, the circus movie and the Twilight Zone, were they both long shooting hours?
Yes.
Okay.
But we were kids, so we played around,
Mm-hmm.
did our thing. So on each one. So I don't remember what we got paid on the Twilight Zone.
I can kind of answer this next question a little bit myself, I think, but the question is, I might be wrong though, what I'm thinking. The question is, why weren't you guys in school too much? And about total through the years you should have been in school, about how long were you in school total, if you had to guesstimate? From grade 1 to 12, like how many years
not
do you
very
think?
long.
What would you guess? Would you
Months.
say you're in months?
Yeah.
Like 2 months total, maybe 3 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple of years maybe total.
My thing is I know you guys traveled a lot,
Yes.
so I was guessing your parents didn't bother to enroll you in school at all
Yep.
because you traveled, but I mean, that's still not a reason, but that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe were your parents against school in a way? They didn't like the system?
No, I don't know the true
Okay.
why. I have no idea what the.
So you never
Why?
got to ask the question, why weren't you in
No,
school?
a lot of times we went to school because the authorities came out and made us go to school.
And
I
ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, as my honest experience with Thomas, you would not know that he was never in school. He's very well educated. He's very well read. I guess life's experiences, he is an example of how life can educate you. I mean, you tell him a math problem or English, he's going to know it, you know. So, in a lot of ways, I believe he's self-taught. Okay, we're going to ask him this. He also had, I asked him what type of animals he's had. He said he had monkeys. Can you brief us a little bit on your experiences?
Yes,
Did you catch them in the wild? Did you
no.
buy them?
Yeah. In the 60s and 70s, it wasn't illegal to have monkeys. So growing up, we didn't have dogs or cats. We had monkeys. We had different experiences in California. They had like bird farms and animal farms. You can go and buy the animals. Or someone had one and they wanted to get rid of it, and my parents bought. We also had anteater and a couple of geese growing up as pets, but never a dog or a cat.
So, when your family left Los Angeles, you had completed the circus movie, you had completed the Mr. Beavis episode of The Twilight Zone that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Was that done with show business? I mean, you
Yes.
made an appearance with the Angels at the
Yes.
stadium opener. Was that
Yes.
1963?
I don't remember. What
Okay,
the
I believe
stadium
it was it was either 63 or 64.
It was before, because we were in Hawaii in 63.
Okay, so it might have been 62 or 61 even.
Yes.
That was the last of the show business, that making the appearance with the Angels
Yes.
opening. Okay,
The California Angel baseball team.
yeah, at the time. And
Yes.
so after Los Angeles, you were on the Hawaii,
Yes, we moved to Hawaii.
and you were about maybe the end of age 11, going on 12.
Yes.
Okay, and what were your thoughts? Like, that's got to be a big change for a young man.
Well, let me explain how that happened.
Okay.
Or not how that happened, but memory only.
Okay.
Okay. We took off, we went to Hawaii. At the time we went to Hawaii, my older brother got a bassinet for babies. My younger brother was born. And the bassinet, he cut it in half. And the baby laid on top. And underneath was a small dog and a monkey. When I went, I had a small monkey called a squirrel monkey. I put it in my pocket and we went on the airplane. They wasn't like now where they're checking. And when we landed in Hawaii, we had a small dog and a monkey and a young brother. And we landed in Hawaii, and from the airport, we went downtown Honolulu, no place to sleep yet, nothing. So we landed, this is 1963, we landed ending up in a school, downtown Honolulu, in a playground. And we're all in the playground laying down, and 1963 they had a tidal wave. And just the time we all settled down, the tidal wave alarm went off. So I think it was the Alaskan earthquake in 1963. So we all got up, and all the announcement was to go to high ground. So we headed towards the mountains. That was the very first night we landed in Hawaii.
And
That's one of them.
that's your first time in Hawaii. Now,
Mhm.
your first time, how many years did you stay there?
A couple the first time.
A couple years,
Yeah,
okay.
At least two.
And then was that where you went to Guam after
No,
that? Okay,
no,
it wasn't Guam
not
yet,
that
okay.
one. Then
We'll
we
go
went
back a little bit.
to California. We came back to California.
Okay,
And we stayed there for, let's see, what was it? 1968. Then we moved back to Hawaii.
Okay.
And I was 18. And in California, or in the military, the rule is where you go in, when you're all done with your military, you get out in the same area. They bring you, like if it's LA, you go in, you come out in LA when you're all done with your military service. At that time, there was a draft. So we were 17, turning 18, and 18 you have to sign up for the draft. So my dad somewhere said he doesn't, because I have the brother, the twin, so he doesn't want us to come back to LA. So we ended up back in Hawaii for about a year or so.
Okay.
And then we moved to an island called Guam. In Guam, I turned 18, went down to the draft board, and got my draft card. So
Now, your second time back in Los Angeles, we'll go back a little bit, folks. Was that where your dad held the job as a janitor at the La Brea
that's
Tar
all
Pits?
before that.
That's before that,
Before
okay.
the circuses, before
Oh,
all of
wow,
that.
okay.
Yeah. He worked at the Brea Tar Pits
Okay.
as a groundsman.
Now your experience in Guam, tell us about that.
We lived there for a good over a year, and let's see, I worked at the Navy Exchange in the store rooms, or stocking room at the Navy Exchange in Guam. That was my job, one of the first jobs I had. Then I moved from that to it was a riding academy, had 21 horses, and I was feeding the horses in the morning, and lived in a cave. That was
So your time you got you held the first job you mentioned. Did you hold those jobs simultaneously?
No.
Okay.
No, they were different times.
Now you left the horse feeding job and went on to work at McDonald's when you were a little bit older. I
that was
understand.
back in Hawaii.
Okay.
After we left Guam, we moved back to Hawaii, and I was about 18, 19, and I got a job at the Waimanalo McDonald's. And when I was there, they had I transferred to the Waikiki McDonald's. This is my McDonald's experience. Okay, and so from there, they had an opening to open a McDonald's in Guam, and an opening to McDonald's on the Big Island of Hawaii. And so I've already lived in Guam, so I wasn't interested going back there. And so I moved, or they put me for a week at the opening up the McDonald's in the Big Island of Hawaii when I was working for McDonald's.
Part of the reason, probably about 10%, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this documentary not only for Tom so his family and friends can see his amazing story. It's to document the behavior of his father, which I probably don't know a lot about. And I don't think Thomas has 100% understanding of it all either. Keep in mind he was young.
Okay, can you stop the thing now? Stop it.
At what time did you notice your dad's behaviors were a little bit unorthodox?
When I turned 15 to 18, we had friends, and the parents didn't do what he's done, type of thing. And I'll give some examples. This is a good idea because I'm thinking of it as we go. We never had electricity during the day in the houses. My dad would drive down the street and find a house that was empty, and we'd move in as long as we could. They had to take 3 months, 4 months to get rid of you through the authorities, and that's how long we lived in some places. And we didn't have electricity during the day. In the afternoon, after 5 or 6 o'clock, he'd tell my older brother to turn the electricity on. and my older brother would go to the back of the house with the wire and touch the wire that comes to the house, always has electricity in it. The cutoff was at the house. He could bypass the cutoff, and at night we'd have electricity. That was most of our electricity. I've never seen him pay electricity bill. Never, one that never even come because we didn't live in the house legally. So the electricity, water bill, and sewer, I don't ever remember seeing a bill. Is one of them. And then the other one was that a car. If we needed a car, we'd drive down the streets and there'd be cars in the driveway. And you could tell they were there because of the spider webs from the car. So my older brother would go knock on the door, and make a long story short, their attitude was if you can get rid of the car, you can have it. It wasn't running. My dad and my brother would go to the car, open the hood, and literally with a bobby pin, do something, and the car would be running, and we'd have a new car. I never seen my father go to the DMV and register a car. We're driving down the street, and the car needs a new tag on the license plate. They'd go and find the car parked in a parking lot, put Dawn soap on the tag, and the tag would come off.
Wow.
That tag would go on my the car we're driving in. I can tell a whole lot of more different things that he's done, but to this day, when I put my tag on my car, I cut it with a razor blade. So you only can get a piece of it because of my own dad. Going to the store and food, he'd send my mom to the store and we ate a lot of stews, chicken, not much vegetables, but there was sometimes. A lot of times my mom would go to the food banks type of thing, and they'd be going, "Aw." Well, sooner or later, some of them would call the authorities that there'd be a large family living in the house. None of them's going to school, la la la. And then so the authorities would come out. We'd start to go to school, or somebody would make sure we go to school. And within 3 months, because we were in the house illegally, we end up moving to another house or another area completely. And we've done that my whole life. And sometimes I even slept on a picnic bench at the park. So, and there's many times it would be other parts of California, like Sacramento. We lived there for quite a while. That's what I'm thinking now, but I went off on a tangent.
What age were you when we talked about how you lived in a piano box?
Okay, in Hawaii, I told you about the story that we went to Hawaii and we stayed in the park or in the school, and the tidal wave, during the course of us being there, there was a lady met my dad or parents and said she has some property and we could go live on it. When we got there, some of the living was the kids had a piano box and they converted it into a clubhouse. So we just stayed in the piano box in the property. I don't know how long. And a lot of times I was a kid, so you don't notice time, when, where, and how.
Two-part question. How did you get along? What was your relationship like with all your siblings, and how many of your siblings could you actually call a friend?
The concept of siblings getting along is we were weeds and we were growing. When a weed waves in the wind, it might touch another weed. There's no feelings, nothing at all. We've never hugged. I don't remember ever hugging a brother or sister, mother or father, as far as family goes, to hug. So it was like weeds growing.
What age were you when you had your first real girlfriend, and where did you meet her?
I don't remember the first age. As far as a relationship, my first wife, we met in school. The girlfriend romantic type thing, never. We moved so much to have any girlfriends at all.
And Anne, your first wife, was a Japanese American, or was she Japanese born?
Japanese American.
Okay.
Hawaiian.
So she's from Hawaii, born and
Yes.
raised. Any interesting stories about her?
I got one story. When we first met, I'm going to run stories together. So, if you noticed, I do that by telling stories. I'm announcing that now, so people understand. We met in college. I went through 2 years of college for food service in Hawaii at a college called Kapiolani College. We met there and dated, and then I was going through a high school in Hawaii before I went to the college. It was called Hawaiian Mission Academy, and I went to the college after and struggled, and during the course of going to the academy, I took a scuba class. One of the teachers taught scuba, so I took the class, and part of the training was at the YMCA in Hawaii, and I was in the swimming pool learning how to scuba, and I got out and took my tank off, and my wife was there visiting because she knew I was there. So I took off my scuba tank, or picked it up, and apparently the holder was loose, and the tank slipped through and smashed her right on the foot. That was an interesting experience. And then the other interesting experience is because she was Japanese, they did a lot of Japanese culture things, and a lot of the holidays and stuff with the firecrackers and the whole thing like that. So it was kind of a cultural experience while I was there. Now the divorce, when we divorced, I never knew why. For 40 years, I never knew why. Then one day my daughter, I had 2 daughters, came from Hawaii to visit, and she was telling me and my wife now that it was a cultural, because my being American and her being Japanese culture. So that's why she divorced. I did not divorce, she did. So for 30, 40 years, I did not see my daughters in living in Hawaii. And then I got married here, and life goes on.
Yeah, as we'll go on and we'll cover in different parts of the interviews. Before we wrap it up, is there anything that you can think of that you'd like to add on that pertain to your early years?
Not really.
Okay.
Then make this part a little short.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like I said, we're going to do several parts to this series. The story gets more interesting as we talk about Tom's new occupation and line of work. We'll go into that later, what he goes into. And we'll see you on part 2. Good Yankee Boy out.